Businessman and father of five, Major Israel Ben Shitrit entered Gaza to defend his country. His experiences there have shaped his view of the war and of the wider Middle East. Injured in battle, he received medical treatment in Israel. Today, he tells me his story. I'm Jonathan Sacerdoti. Israel Ben Shitrit, thank you for joining me, and I'm looking forward to hearing about your experiences because you are, in many respects, an Israeli hero, having fought in Gaza, having been injured, but having been fighting there during this war for some time. So hopefully you can give us some insights into what it's actually like day to day in that war. And before we talk about that, tell me how you came to be fighting in Gaza. What happened on October the 7th? Where were you? And what happened for your progress into Gaza? How did you get there? How did everything start?
Well, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. So, thank you for the opportunity. What happened, 7 October, there was an alarm. I'm living in Yerucham. This is a small village in the desert, and it's very rare there to be alarm in Yerucham. And I jumped from the bed. It was 6:30. I jumped from the bed and I shouted, "No good, really no good," because 2 weeks ago, we had a big train in the military that we're doing about Radwan forces are conquered Ofakim. This is another village in Israel in the south. And we were training that Radwan forces is going to do attack in the north. And this is what we train all the time. We're doing serving Miluim. It's almost between 16 to 70 days each year. And 2 weeks before the 7th October, we do this training. And so I jumped from the bed in 6:30 and I shouted, "No good. What happening here? It's a holiday and really what happening now?" And there is alarm in Jerusalem. It's something that is very, very rare. And even we're Orthodox in our family, I decided to open my phone and open the TV. And after a few minutes, I saw the white truck and the white car inside the Sderot with the Nukhba forces. And I realized, no doubt, that we're in a war. So I did three things immediately. I opened WhatsApp group and told to everyone that get into the WhatsApp. If someone have a weapon or rifle, get entered to the WhatsApp group, because in Yerucham there is no police station, there is not alarm alert force, and that can, if something happened there, it can help us and defense on us in this village. And second, I took my car and drove all the synagogue in Yerucham immediately and called to everyone, we're in a war. There is something, I don't know what happening in the south, but I'm hearing this big news and bad news. And I suggest everyone go home immediately. At the start, they said, why you doing that? We're your holiday. It's a very special holiday. And I told them, we are in an extreme situation. And
so you knew straight away, basically, when you saw what you saw, partly because of your military background, and you said you'd been training in Ofakim for a sort of drill for if the Hezbollah special forces had invaded in the north, but you'd been doing the training in Ofakim in the south. So Ofakim actually was one of the places we saw did have the terrorists, the Nukba terrorists from Hamas invading. So it's kind of quite prescient. So your insight meant that you knew you had to go around the synagogues, take people out from the religious holiday and get people ready for what was happening.
Yeah. And the first thing I took my friend and we did a roadblock at the main entrance in Yerucham. And we did a check, everyone that get inside Yerucham, because I'm really afraid that the terrorists will come from Rafah, Ramat Negev, it's close, and come into Yerucham. And Yerucham is a very small village. So I decided to do the entry, the checking who is coming, who is not. Because it was, it was morning with chaos, no one knows what, and nothing. And there was all very bad news from Gaza.
And this was off your own back. Nobody commanded you. You basically said, we need to put up a roadblock into Yerucham so that we know who's coming in.
Yeah. In my life, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm doing a business for startup and doing raising funds for startup. all the time entrepreneur. I had two startups also. So, when you're entrepreneur, you're all the time entrepreneur. So this is what I did at the first steps at the 7 October.
So how did it go from there to fighting in Gaza? Tell me what the process was, how quickly the army responded, because I know there was a lot of criticism within Israel that the army took its time to swing into action because of this surprise element.
We immediately realized that we're in a war. So immediately I called to my unit, to my squad and my platoon and told them, go on guys, we're in a war, come into the base as soon as you can. Even my base is a 4-hour driving from Jerusalem to my base. We did it so fast. We got immediately to our base. I go to my commander, ask for mission that we have, what we need to do immediately. So after 12 hours, we was on the border of Lebanon with equipment, with the vehicles. We're ready to, get into a war against Hezbollah. And also, the courage of all the soldier and even the volunteer person in Israel are coming to Gaza and the north, saving the war. I'm truly say that, because if they were not coming so fast, the armies took time. It's really took time between 4 to 8 hours to understand the situation. But the volunteering and the courage of people is saving lives of hundreds, and I even guess more.
Because all that time there were people. I mean, I'm here in London, and we had friends who had relatives in their mamad, in their safe rooms, hiding. So there were messages coming out in real time. People knew what was happening to friends and family, and yet it takes some time for an army to swing into action, especially on a religious holiday like Simchat Torah. So I understand what you're saying. And then when did you first find yourself actually going into Gaza as a soldier?
My mission is to be in the border of Lebanon, but after 4 months that we were fighting against Hezbollah and they shoot rockets and missiles and we respond, and we did a defense attack for 4 months. After 4 months, I asked my commander that I want to volunteer with my platoon to Gaza. And then after 4 months, we are combined to another unit, and we're been in Gaza. Our first mission in Gaza was to be in the Qatari neighborhood. This is a great place, and very explosive place, with a building, pool, kindergarten, everywhere. Very, very nice place. Even in Israel.
Were you surprised to see that when you went into Gaza?
Yeah, for sure. Because, in the media and the social media and the network, they all the time say that Gaza is poor and they have nothing. They have not food, they have no electricity. And
open air prison, I think, is a phrase they used a lot.
Yeah. And you're coming to the Qatari neighborhood and you saw pool and you saw garden and you saw tree and a really nice building. Even in Jerusalem, there's no such a nice place like that. And you said, wow, why? You're going against your enemy if you're poor or you don't have something to eat, and they all the time try to take the freedom that you have. But now you're here from Gaza. There is a point view for the sea, amazing place, and you said, "Wow, why they need us? Why they're fighting us? We bring them Gaza in 2005. So what they want from us now? What we do to them?"
So you went in there around January, February then, having been in the north fighting against Hezbollah. And it's important to note, actually, that wasn't probably a quiet service. By comparison, it might have been. But from the 8th of October, Hezbollah was actually launching rockets directly into Israel. In fact, even before the 7th of October, things were not necessarily calm in the north. And they had been in the south of Lebanon as they shouldn't have been, according to the UN Resolution 1701. So for a long time, there had been tensions in the north. But on the 8th, those rockets started, and you were there as part of the response for the first 4 months in the north. Is that right?
Yeah. We're all the time, and it was all day where there was shooting Hezbollah against us, missile, rockets all day, all the time. it was very dangerous. It's not like dangerous like now, but it was very dangerous. We're very all the time thought what happening if we need to go to south of Lebanon and what our mission. We're really all the time tuned and ready to do a war against Hezbollah, because what happening in Hezbollah, it's very in Kiryat Shmona and all the north is very sad. The civilians are not living over there; they're living in hotels. In Kiryat Shmona, we've been there. Everything almost is empty. There was maybe 3-4 stores that opening. There is one gas station. No civilians, no kids, nothing. You're coming and it's all quiet over there, and it's really, really sad. Because I have a family, I have kids, and I'm thought that I need to evacuate my family from my house and living in a hotel. This is crazy. This is a crazy situation. And
I was up in the north not that long ago, and it is like a sort of ghost town. Obviously, all you have is the military there. And it's not, even that hasn't prevented deaths. There have been soldiers and civilians who've died up in the north because of the Hezbollah rockets. And of course, quite recently, we know those 12 teenagers playing football. But that was not even the beginning of it. So you went from that service straight into Gaza. And by the time you will have entered Gaza, then the war had entered a kind of new fighting phase there. There was obviously that pause at the beginning while Israel planned what to do. And I think there was a lot of back and forth between Israel and the US on what it was allowed to do. Then the IDF went in. I know that during the period that the fighting's been going on in Gaza, the method of fighting developed along with the intelligence and experience that was gained, because it's a long time since Israel had a ground war in Gaza, and there's never really been a ground war like this one. So tell me what it is you were doing as a soldier day to day, as much as you can, because I think for many viewers, we have no idea what it's like to fight in a ground war, door to door, in a built up urban area, in a unique battlefield like nowhere else on earth.
I'm serving in the military between 20 years. I'm since I've been 19, I'm in the military. You have the regular 3 years that you must and have to do, and I'm continuing to be officer. So I did military for 6 or 7 years, and after that you're doing a serving that call in miluim, and you're doing each year between 16 to 17 days. And I've been in a lot of operation, Tzuk Eitan in 2014, and a lot of operation. And was not a regular war. I must say, was a different war, because we've been in a lot of houses, hundreds, 100,000 of houses. And in each houses, first of all, there was a picture of Al-Aqsa, like this is the main thing, the main mindset they have.
Al-Aqsa being Jerusalem and their mosque there on the site of the destroyed Jewish temple.
Yeah, exactly, the mosque. And second of all, almost in each houses, there was grenade, there was a weapon. Like you have in your kitchen salt and pepper. In their kitchen, there was a grenade and weapon and knife and military equipment. Like
in people's homes, just ordinary people's homes.
People home, regular, you enter to houses, there was a room for kids with toys, and there after you open the bed or you lift the bed up and you see grenade, you see missiles, you see rockets, you see AK all over, and you said, wow, unbelievable. Unbelievable, because I have 5 kids, and even they getting reach or closer to a candle or one electricity thing, I said, oh, wow, it's very dangerous. Be careful. And in their home, there was all over grenade and weapons. So this is really, really crazy. And in their house, there was a tunnel, open for tunnel everywhere. But what made me so much shock and unbelievable, and when it happened to me, I was terrified. I have a gooseback. One day we do a searching in the house, and I opened a notebook, and in the notebook there was a quiz map, and the quiz map was if you kill one Jewish in the morning and you kill 2 Jewish afternoon, how many Jewish you kill today? And after I reading that, I was shocked. I need to sit. I need to drink something or water, because then I realized this is not a regular war. This is a war against good and evil. This is a war against what they educate their children. This is what they wanted educated. There was a picture of their children holding AK and holding a rocket. And when you enter to a school and kindergarten, there was a map of Palestine, big map and big picture of Palestine all over. And you said, why?
The whole of Israel, effectively. The map is the whole of the state of Israel, but as Palestine.
Exactly. And you say you have your place, you have Gaza, you have more country, you have Yemen, you have Egypt, you have what they want from us. So,
well, I think the point being as well that, Israelis, you all know this from your growing up there and your children now, you generally in the educational system educate for peace and for even 2 states. This is a vision that most Israelis supported for a very long time, if not, not all, but most. And I suppose what we're saying is that when you entered into people's homes and schools in Gaza during war, you saw that there was no similar education on the other side. There was an ambition to take over the whole of Israel.
Absolutely. In our life, we're working with the Arabs. We're working together. We're looking to do a partnership with them. There is all over society in Jerusalem, East Jerusalem. We're working together. I did a project in East Jerusalem. We did in the West Bank, even project to help and educate. Israel, even they have a war in Syria, and their enemy, the Syria army. We open a hospital for refugees. So we're all the time looking to live together. We're not looking for war. This is not what we are educate our kids. We're educate the value for goods. They educate the value to do something good, not to put grenade or weapon in your house. It's your safe house. This is really, really crazy what's happening over there. And then I realized, and I think, everyone in Israel now realized, because of that, even we're 10 months, almost 11 months, middle in the war, everyone understood this is a different war, so everybody want to be mobilized, even the women, the kids, the families, the worker, the implements, the business, everyone is mobilized in this war together and united together. And this is amazing what really happening here in Israel.
So a lot of military experts that I speak to tell me that this is quite a unique war because of something you just mentioned there, which is that you can go into virtually every single home, maybe every other home in parts of Gaza, and you'll find military equipment, you'll find weapons, you'll find entrances to the tunnels that have now become famous the world over. They've dug this massive network of tunnels, larger than the London Underground network, quite extraordinary to think, that goes across the whole of Gaza, from which they're fighting. They're not defending or protecting civilians in those. In fact, they're making those entrances in their homes, as you say. Now, those homes that you found weapons in, did you have any way of knowing, are they homes of people directly connected with Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, or other groups? Or are they just literally civilians? And whether they liked it or not, this stuff was put in their homes, stored in their homes, even maybe against their will?
We have our information. We know everything, who is belong to these houses, who party belong, or which party is belong. But what I can say, everyone in Gaza is involved. We saw that in the picture in 7 October, how they celebrate what happened in the kidnap, how they took a kidnap and hostage in their car, in their motorcycle. Everyone is involved. And I said it, unfortunately, because we're truly believing want a peace and believe in peace. What happened in 7 October is just a mirror. And that show that everyone in Gaza involved. And they elected Hamas, and even they didn't do nothing since 2008. They didn't do nothing to say that they are against Hamas. I never heard someone in Hamas or in the Gaza that said, wow, we have a hostage, but we have a baby hostage, and stop that. Bring the babies, bring the old people, the women, the men, the old. Keep the soldier. If we are in a war, keep the soldier, but bring back the kids. There is a baby, 1 year, 2 years, Bibas, he's in Gaza, and no civilians, no one are saying stop that. So we have the information what happening in Gaza and who they belong. But what I want to say that if they don't want to be involved, you're strong. Say and bring the hostages, the baby, the old woman, the old men to Israel. And after this, we talk about against soldier and what happening over there.
In the media, particularly outside Israel, there's a lot of discussion about civilians in Gaza. And you're saying that effectively, from what you could see from being there, most civilians were connected. And I will say that I remember watching the attacks, and I watched every single video I could find of what happened. And a large number of them were ordinary civilians from Gaza joining in with the violence and the horrors. I mean, I watched some utterly unthinkable things done by men in flip-flops and sandals using agricultural tools they found in the kibbutzim. So it wasn't just organized fighters from a militarized wing of a terrorist organization. There were plenty of civilians, and as you said, when we saw the videos of them bringing back dead bodies sometimes, and also live kidnapped hostages, old people, young people, babies, we saw the celebrations in the street. And I'll just add to what you just said as well, that my own father was a hidden child during the Holocaust in Italy, and he was saved by ordinary people who chose to hide him, as were many, and that's why Israel has in Yad Vashem the honor of being declared a righteous among the nations. I haven't heard of any righteous among the Gazans who have declared that they've seen hostages or tried to give back hostages. On the contrary, we heard that those 4 that were rescued heroically by the IDF were being kept by so-called civilians, even a journalist who was on the Al Jazeera website as having worked for them. So it is interesting to note what you say, which is that you saw massive support for Hamas and the horrors of October the 7th firsthand in Gaza, going into people's homes, fighting. And would you say then that there really is such a blurred distinction between the Gazan society and the fighters that it made the battleground particularly challenging for soldiers like yourself?
I truly believe that everything in the world is connected to spirit. And if you have the spirit, you can do everything. But what happened here in Israel, that we have spirit of united. What happened in Gaza, they have the spirit to go against Israel. And it's all over. It's like I told you, they educate their children like this. This is the spirit in the houses, the private houses. You see, like I told you, weapons, grenades, equipment, military in the houses, under the bed, in the closet. You see everything. And you see the spirit 11 months, and you can see no one declare and say, we're against this, what Hamas doing. Maybe 2%, 10%, 100%, but you don't see that as a culture that are declaring they're against what Hamas is doing. They're against they took in hostages, baby and woman and men's, and they're not against this. They can say, we're in the middle of a war, we're against Israel, we're fighting against the army, but we're not they take babies and old women and old men in the houses, and we're not hearing nothing of this 11 months. So this is the spirit that's happening in Gaza, and the spirit of the civilians, people in Gaza. They celebrating 7 October. They come in the second circle, the third circle, entering to the nachalos, to the kibbutzim, taking everything they can, tractors, everything they can, cars, things they can take. So this is the spirit that they are related.
And as a soldier, when you were in there, you also didn't see it on the ground.
As a soldier, you see everything. In their houses, there was opening tunnel in their houses. They helping to Hamas to hide weapon, to hide grenade. They in the road of the tunnel is crossing between everything. In their hospitals, there was grenade and there was weapon. In their kindergarten and their school, there was
you saw
weapon.
This yourself?
Yeah, I saw it. So this could be, doctor that's supposed to save in life, hiding grenade and weapon in a medical centers, in a hospital. And, doctor that their ideologies to saving life, no. In their place, there is a baby outside over there, hostage in tunnel. Then in the tunnel, there is no air, there is no food. They're in the cage. So this is crazy. In their school, in the main entrance, you see map and you see a drawing, and people are stabbing Jewish, the draw in the wall. So this is pure evil that is happening in Gaza, and everybody know that, must know that.
We hear a lot about the IDF trying its hardest, especially from spokespeople for the IDF and for the Israeli army, trying its hardest not to kill, not to injure, not to affect as far as possible civilians. Now, I know that you told me a bit about the method of fighting, and I'd be interested to talk more about how, as a soldier, this differed from some of your training for other wars, for other battles, how much you drew on what you had done in your previous training, and really how this operates as a fight, because it's a very unique thing. And I must say as well, here in the West, we hear a lot of human interest stories in the news, usually about people in Gaza, but we don't hear a lot about the military strategy and tactics that the actual soldiers are undertaking on the ground. So what can you tell me about the fighting itself, the method of fighting? What's it like to be a soldier? What happens from dawn to dusk? How much do you sleep? How are you working with each other, with the other forces? What's it like?
First of all, I want to say this is an honor to be a soldier, an officer in the IDF. We have the best army in the whole world, and we're the moral army that I have ever had in all the history. We were the moral army. Even the social media and the network want to show something different. I can say that in my story, in my what I saw, we're the biggest moral army that I ever had. And to be in Gaza, in this specific war, in Iron Sword, it was such a... You see the soldiers are very determined. We left everything. We left our houses, we left our family, we left our business, and we're going to the war because we truly believe that what happening is must be happening, because it was different, really, really different. What happened, it's amazing. It's amazing tactical ways that the IDF doing. I am an officer, and meanwhile in the war, I was talking with the Air Force together, with the tanks together, and we had a different way to do the middle in the combat. So we was so determined, and we was so combined together that we're all the time knowing what we have to do and what is the tactics. And we do an amazing tactics with all the power that we have with the Air Force, with the tank, with the D9 together. And what is so amazing is just not the tactic, is the spirit of the wars. To be in the battle almost 11 months, day by day, in an really extreme situation, that every day people got killed and people got wounded. But you see how their soldiers are so determined and want to continue and want to win. This is amazing to see. And what is superbly amazing to me, the work with the medical units. The medical units in Gaza are amazing. They saving lives of thousands and hundreds of soldiers. They're together with the soldier all the time. The doctors, the medical units are together with the warriors and the fighters. So if there was something happened and someone got wounded or got injured, he taken care of in a second, not after minutes or an hour. It's taken a second that if someone got wounded, he taken care of by the medical unit. So this is such a courage of the people that even, the doctors, most of them are not fighters, most of them are not warrior. They're a medical supply, but they're all the time with the fighter units. This is amazing. This is really it.
I saw quite a lot about this as well, which is that quite uniquely, the access to data and notes, even live in the field, is unique for any wars anywhere in the world, I think. And similarly, this war is taking place, right in the bottom corner of Israel. And so also Israel being a tiny country where people do need to be evacuated to hospitals, they can get to the best hospitals in Israel by helicopter quickly. So the survival rate of soldiers has been much better than it might be. But I have to say, what you've mentioned is very interesting, because it's something else I wanted to ask about. You've been pioneering effectively in the IDF during this war new methods and techniques and new technologies and new combinations of existing technologies. This is all stuff that other Western armies, allies of Israel, is going to now learn from, because unfortunately I think this kind of warfare, whilst it's the most extreme and unique version of it, it's not going to be the last time we see this, and other armies are probably going to have to fight in similar battlefields in the future. So is there a sense, in a way as well, of pride among the IDF that you are pioneering this, and that this is something that you're able to share with and teach to allied armies elsewhere in the world?
Last week I did a lecture to a commander for Philippines, and we told them all the tactics that we're doing again in the middle of the battlefield. Taking the drones in front of us that open the area to see all the picture that we need and not get entrance to a dangerous place. It's amazing. Using sensors, using the technique with the tanks and the Air Force together. Even the forces are very close and it could be very dangerous. But to take the safety range between the units, this is something unbelievable. I can tell you, we talk a lot with the radio, in the radio, and then I asked him, "You shooting now? I need to go back." And he said, "Go back. In 2 minutes, I'm gonna shoot." So the changing is such an amazing that you can do things that you are the simple. You are the parachute. You have your parachute. You have what you need, but the power and the combination between all the units, it's make it a double power that no one really can imagine. And what is more unbelievable, that it's very, very on the target. They was really on the target, not shooting all over, was very sophisticated and very know where to shoot, which building, which floor, precisely whatever we need, anytime we need. And this is amazing, really, really amazing.
What you're saying there is, if I understand you, is that there's a lot of allegations in the media that the IDF is indiscriminate, that it is excessive in its force. But actually you're saying, on the contrary, through a combination of aerial drone information, drones even on the ground going into buildings before soldiers to detect booby traps or what's inside, through a combination of good communication between the army, the air force, the navy, all active in the area, you're able to pinpoint and target very specifically, which isn't to say that there isn't then collateral damage or even mistakes made, but it is to say that the targeting is actually informed by a massive amount of intelligence and combined live real-time communication between all the elements of the IDF at the same time. Is that basically the gist of it?
Exactly. And this was also our value, to take care about the civilians. IDF supply to the civilians water and food, and they told them before we entered to a neighborhood in Khan Yunis or in other places, we told them we were going to come. We're in another place or in another army, we're announced to our enemy that we're going to come. Because in Israel, we're the most moral army that we ever had. We're telling to our enemy that we're going to come, and please, all the civilians go, and all the terrorists stay, and, in very gentle. And even we know it's good, make our enemy get more powerful because they're knowing that we're going to go, or they're going to hide and they're going to take our hostages. Our values to be immoral. So this is probably amazing. And before we enter to a place, we announce that we're coming. So even we know this is very dangerous, our life, and dangerous the soldier. This is amazing. This is the idea.
And tell me then a bit about your injury and how that happened. What took place that day?
Yeah, fortunately, 2 days before, there was attacking missiles against another platoon. Got killed 2 soldiers and got wounded 60 soldiers very bad. And we had a mission that we need to find the place there was shooting the missiles and find the terrorists over there. So I did a brief to my soldier, to my units. I told them this is what we need to do. This is our mission. And we've been in a house. I go out from the house and was the 2 vehicles that we need to drive with them to the mission. And I did a brief also to the drivers, and the people was on it's called Achzarit. I call this Achzarit. It's like heavy tanks. And I did a brief to them. And when I decided to go to my Achzarit, my tanks, immediately I saw the RPG, the head of the rockets, and with the flame in front of me. And I realized this is the last second of my life. I jumped because of the blast to the left side. I felt I got wounded really hard in my right side. And then I realized I'm in attack because the terrorists start shooting on me AK all over. I heard the bullets was very close to me, close to my leg, close to my head, and I'm really looking for a hide. I said, oh my God, first of all, I'm alive, unbelievable, but I'm alive. But I'm looking for a hide. I start crawling immediately between the 2 vehicles, and then I reach out and lost my conscience. After maybe 10 seconds, I felt that someone touching in my shoulder and say, wake up, it's not the time to sleep. I look around, I didn't see no one, but I heard the screaming of the wounded. They was shouting very, very hard, and they shouting, save me, rescue me. Even I got wounded. I decided I must go from the place that I've been, because I was between the 2 vehicles. It was full of ammo, full of gas. And if the Hamas will shoot again another missile, everyone will blow up and no one will recognize me. So I decided to crawl into the house that was nearby, on my right side. I crawl in, I enter to the house. I start to take care about my wounded in my leg. But there was a unit of parachute over there, and because of the chaos and what were happening over there, they fought the time the terrorists from Hamas, and they start running to me. They point their gun and their rifle to me. I shouted, "Don't shoot! Ceasefire! IDF! Don't shoot!" But it was very nervous. It was very tight over there. And I said to myself, I need to say something that will understand that I'm from the unit. So I shouted, Brigada Alexandroni, Brigada Alexandroni. This is the place that I'm serving. And, Alexandroni is a very complicated war. And then at the last second, they realized that I'm from their unit. My soldier entered to the house. They saw that I got really wounded very hard, and they told me, go to the doctor, or we'll talk you to the doctor. And I told them, this is not the time. This is a soldier outside that got wounded. We need to save their life. I woke up, stand up, and even I got wounded in my legs, and I decided to go out from the house. And when I was in the entrance of the house, I saw the soldier got wounded on the ground, and I asked why no one helped them. And they said, this is the place that was shooting, the Hamas shooting an RPG. If you go out, they will shoot again. It's very dangerous. I said, maybe this is my last mission that I can do. I really felt very bad. I start running to the soldier, touching his leg. I can't help him because it was very difficult to me because of my wound. I asked him for help, and we entered him to the house. Unfortunately, when we entered into the house, he got died. We evacuated 2 more soldiers that was on the top of the tanks, and then that I realized the situation that there are no wounded. I called to the helicopters, and I went to the hospital. After that, I've been in the hospital between 3.5 months in the hospital, in the rehab department. And this is a story. I had a big miracle, really big miracle what happened to me. And, they shot on me an RPG and AK all over, but I'm still here. So I have a mission.
Well, thank you for the mission that you are undertaking. I mean, that is a heroic story, and I'm happy that you are still here and that they took good care of you in the hospital. I wish you refuah shelema for ongoing recovery. But that's an extraordinary story, and just a snapshot of what I suppose officers and soldiers like yourself are going through every single day in this war, which is not really talked about very much because there's a focus on other matters, whether it's bigger picture strategy at the top or whether it's the victims within Gaza itself among the Palestinians. But of course, I think the soldiers are the people on the front line battling against the terrorism and the evil that is persecuting not just Israelis, but also even the population of Gaza itself. Let me just ask you a bit about something else I know that we talked about before we were recording, which is the idea of not just the 7th of October, but the 8th of October, because I think Israel on, let's say, the 6th of October and Israel on the 8th of October, 2 very, very different places. And I suspect that the 8th of October version will last in some form for years or decades to come. How do you, as somebody that hasn't just lived through that, but's been on the front line of it, see that shift? What's it done to the Israeli people and their attitude?
You're absolutely right. I'm all the time saying think to be in the 8th of October, not in the 7th of October. But what happening in Israel here since 8th of October is a different spirit of united. We're all mobilized here in Israel. We're all mobilized and want to take a part and be a part in this war. Everyone, the woman, the family, the business, the employees, the company, everyone truly believe this is a different war, and everyone here in Israel are united. I've been in the hospital, and people from all over the globus come to visit me. Even they never met me, they never know me before, and they just want to say thank you and give a hug. So this is amazing. People from Melbourne and Australia, and people from Canada and United States and New Jersey and even Dubai, people are coming and saying thank you. And at the hospital, their kids are coming to play guitar to make you happy, bring you some candy, bring you letters. And this is really amazing. And it's not just the wounded, it's also the soldier. People pay money to soldier to help them with the military equipment, to help them with everything they need, with their kids, with their family, with their job. Even, there is a great guy, Sanof Daum, and he's a comedian. He's just a comedian in Israel, but he taking a mission since 7 October to help all the soldiers. And every day he open and helping and post for to helping a soldier. So this is amazing what really happening in Israel. And I'm telling you, this is what really our enemy afraid of. Our enemy really knows that when we are in conflict here in Israel, they can attack. And this is the weak point of us. But where we are united, we're the much stronger. We can fight even we have a stick and a stone. We can fight in each enemy. And you can check, and you can check in the history when our enemy attacking us, when we are in conflict, when we have a problem, issue inside and outside. And this is what they're looking for, and this is what they're doing in the media, in the hostages. They said this part of this party is against the hostages, is against you, is against everyone, and they want to find the weak point against us. What really happening here in Israel, it's a really amazing. Every place that you're going, they're open their houses, their business to a soldier, to a wounded. I said, I'm a wounded, and say, you're a hero. Oh my God, get injured. What do you need? What do you want? You don't pay us nothing. This is only in Israel. This is amazing.
What's your hope for the rest of the war, how long that will be, and then much further into the future? You're a father of 5, I think, right? 5 children?
Yeah.
Good for you. That sounds like hard work in itself, probably your biggest challenge in life. But what's your hope for them, for Israel, for peace, dare I say?
I'm saying to everyone that if we are not safe here in Israel, no one's safe. Really. Everyone need to understand that. Because really what happening in Europe, and even in your place, you're not safe. You open the border, you open the gates to everyone, to refugees, you want to help. And now it's against you. They're burning your flags. In United States, they're burning their flag. I've been in Boston 5 years ago, and there was flag all over. And I said, wow, this is a great country. They're love and they're proud of their country. But now, immigrants are burning their flag. This is really crazy. But what I want to say that this is not a war against Israel. This is not against Hamas, against Israel, Hezbollah against Israel. This is the pure evil against the pure good. And this is what happened here in Israel is really what's happening in a more, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, I don't know, but it could be happening to the United States. It could be happening in London. It could happen everywhere. Because this is what they educate their children. And you open your gates, you open your borders to helping people, but they took into another part, to another thinking. So I really want to say that here in Israel, we're all the time, we're high-tech and we're innovate a country. And this is what we're looking for. We are helping. We're thinking how to help to the world, how to bring another innovation to the world, another innovation to helping the medical system and the industry system. But what they are looking for, what they want against us, what they want against you, what did you do? They said we took the country. What did you do? You did something. You just opened your hearts and your gates to them, and look what happening. And I'm not saying nothing against the Arabic and the Muslim world. I love them and I really love their culture. I love everything. But, just give us to live in peace, raising our children, raising and be in a peaceful life. This is what we think. This is what we want. Just to do good in the world, just to bring values to the world, and not just burning flags and says and do different things.
I would add just one thing, maybe, that, I see what you mean about it being a war of values, of good against evil. But I hope that it isn't a war of pure good and pure evil, because, amongst ourselves, we can get things wrong, and amongst themselves, they can get things right. And I suspect that in reality, there probably are people just like you on the other side who would like to live a quiet life on their own. And many people are very badly served by leaderships that are corrupt or bloodthirsty or motivated by extremism or extreme religious fervor for wiping out others. And just as on our side, we may have characters who get things wrong, I think on their side, those characters are definitely winning for now. And it's thanks to actions like yours and those of other soldiers and people fighting against the flashpoints in this battle of civilizations that I think we might one day as humanity win, because I think what defeats that kind of battle of ideas is immense strength and immense confidence in our own values and our own aspirations for living a good life in peace alongside others who want the same. And on that basis, thank you for serving in that battle and in that fight, and to all the other soldiers. And also, please God, we'll see the hostages released soon, and as many alive as possible in good health, and that should happen soon as well. So thank you, Israel, for talking with me. I really, really appreciate it. I wish you continued strength and good recovery. And I hope that you'll be back doing exactly what you want to as soon as possible.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. And Israel, I'm really glad to be here.